This is Paul. Yeah, looks like this is going to be the last video. I'm just sitting here thinking about all those nations that might have employees that are not actual citizens, which, and could be the clones of those that were born from the actual parents. Now, I'm a little concerned that no one has actually enforced the laws of the United States. And it's one of these types of situations where I'm kind of wondering where I'm going to get that income that I need. Now, there's a word called revenue, the return on investment, profit, income on capital, income of a government derived from taxes or other sources. I'm kind of thinking that I'd like to know the total amount of revenue in every nation of the world that has agreed to the International Hague of International Service of Process. Do you have taxes in other nations? Yes. You know, in America, there's this taxation without representation, but what if it's taxation without the implementation of the International Hague of International Service of Process and Child Support Service? Yes. Now, I need to know the exact amount of income of every government that had signed on to the International Convention. Could you give me all the revenue of all those other nations? I know it's a big problem. Supposedly, these citizens in other countries, they pay taxes. They're like, oh, our government signed on with the International Convention so that if I was to move to Armenia, pooch, I could still get served for back child support because of the refusal to enforce the Violence Against Women's Act, the due process rights of the respondent, the right to reciprocity. I know I could get sued in any nation of the world for back child abuse, child protection, child support. Well, what if I had to sue a nation for more than the actual assets of that country? Now, I don't know how much property or buildings that Armenia owns. I could move them all out of their government buildings and various palaces and whatever that country owns. Yes. But I might need to take a certain percentage of the revenue, the income of Armenia to... I'm sure the people of Armenia would understand having to sue their government for having knowledge of the United States not enforcing the international obligations of the Hague Convention, and then to find out that they lost all their historic property, every government building, and then I'm like, well, actually, I'm a multi-trillionaire and I'm experiencing a large amount of losses because of my inability to sell my innovations. My sons are kidnapped. Yeah, I'm going to have to take 10 to 20% of the tax revenue of Armenia for the next 20 years. Now, I know a lot of those people in Armenia. They find out they lost all the property in their nation, and they're paying me 20% of the income of the taxation of the population for the next 20 years. Now, I didn't really want to have to put my foot down, but I'm sure that once Armenians get done paying for the crimes of those that are in office in Armenia, they'll understand that when you sign these conventions and you know that other nations are allowing for illegal court documents and the kidnapping of children and the seizing of my actual inheritances and the obstructing of my right to sell my innovations, the Armenians, I'm sure, would understand.